Hello everyone and welcome back to our YouTube channel. So NTA is any day going to disclose the date of examination of CUET. So let us now start with the prep strategy you have to keep in mind for the general knowledge. So before starting for today's session, I would like to introduce, I'm Nitika and I'll be your GK expert for the next few weeks, and we'll see how you have to start your preparations for your GK for these last weeks, or you may even count as last days, because NTA is any day going to announce the date of examination. General knowledge has always been the most important section in any examination, be it CLAT, be it CUET now, or in any other UG or PG entrance exam. Even when we talk about UPSC or IS levels, so GK counts the most important section of any exam, right? Be it the government exams or any other. So let us quickly understand what comprises of the general knowledge. So general knowledge, precisely, it has three sections. One is the current based questions to be asked. So current based question means the questions related to the most recent happenings, the events, the news, of course the questions that made headlines in the previous few months. Then the second one is we have static GK. Now static GK, which is fairly, it had happened in the past, or it does not have any current relevance. It has become a historical evidence now. And third and the most important one, which is actually counting the most these days, is the current based static. So what does this mean? It means that some news, or there had been some event, or a happening in the recent past. So that past has something to do, or it is actually related to some of the historical event. For example, we recently had celebrated the World Environment Day, right, on June 5th. Now, June 5th, we celebrated World Environment Day. So, when was the first time when we actually celebrated it? Why it has been celebrated? Which international organization or agency is related to it? So, that actually makes the part. So, if for example, you are being asked a question that for the first time, when did we celebrate the World Environment Day? So it is actually a static question, but because it came in the news in the month of June, it has current relevance also, right? So I hope this is clear to you that we have three segments in the GK part, which is static, current and current based. Now let us comprehensively understand what comes under the static portion. So in the static portion, we are again we have divided the static part in the in the subtopics. Firstly, history. History, of course, the most comprehensive subject, if I may even discuss. History comprises of your ancient history, your medieval history, modern history, modern India, and even the post independent history. So sometimes the modern history and post-independent issues, they comprises as one. So ancient history, starting from Indus Valley civilization and even before, but you can precisely start from Indus Valley civilization on pre-Harappan times also. Sometimes the questions relating to pre-Harappan can also be asked. Then the medieval kings are very important, the empires, the dynasties are very important from the medieval period. And thirdly, the British era, or the modern history is predominated by the British era. So all the acts, the incidents, the events, even we have Dandi March, we have British during the Britishers time, we had chain of events which had happened, the start of INC, the post INC period, Quit India movement. So several movements, even during this period, the dates are also very important ones. right? And of course, the post independent, that is after 1947. So this period not only is important for the events but also for the acts and laws which has been part. So it has a direct relationship with our polity as well. The second one we have is geography. So geography, majorly it comprises the physical geography and the world geography. Plus, we have to take a deep look at the Indian geography also. So these days, a lot of climatic events are happening. Recent being 21st of June, the summer solstice again, and even every now and then the organizations declaring year after year as the hottest year or the coldest year. So these all come, and even the chain of events like global warming and everything, and it is making changes in the magnetic fields of the planet, of the earth. So entirely we discuss everything in the geography part, which is why the geography is important from the concepts point of view. So kindly read the concepts of geography, so that if any question from the geography which has a current relation, it has been asked, you are able to answer that. Even the natural disasters comes under the geography. So tsunamis, tornadoes, every now and then we hear about the earthquakes, the floods, and even the the river basins and all. So these all form the part of geography, which is very conceptual. So kindly read geography to understand the concept. The third one, very very important, and the most I'll say, it is more memory based subject, that is polity, because it has a lot to do with the numbers, the acts, the constitution, and how do you memorize it. We have several topics and they all are aligned as per a certain number. For example, article 1, article 12, 24, let us suppose article 365, 377. So all the articles and the relative subject you need to understand, you need to memorize and cram also, because we talk about fundamental rights, we talk about DPSPs. They are, of course, they are correlated to each other, but still their articles are separated. So do not mix up the articles, as and otherwise it is going to create a kind of confusion in your mind. So read the articles very diligently and practice as much as you can as far as the polity is concerned. Again, the Indian constitution is very heavy, one of the lengthiest written constitution in the world we have. The source of constitution is very important. How do we derive, how did we derive our constitution from other constitution, that is very important. And also any recent amendments being made in any act or any law, that is very important. Also, we are now currently staging about the elections of President of India. So do read about the presidential elections. It is very, very important. Then next, economy. Again, it's one of my favorite subjects, economy. you know so every student, of course, we know, we read a lot about stock markets and price rates changes, inflation, and what are the currency bank rates going on, FD rates. So these all form the part of economy. So economy, however, seems very narrow subject, but it is, however, not. So then next we have international relations. So India's relations with its neighbor countries and other countries in the world. And what comes under miscellaneous? Sports, awards, art and culture, very very important. The important personalities in past, so they all are form the part of miscellaneous, which is again very important. Now moving on further, I hope this is all clear to you. So moving on further, we have the next, that is current affairs. So current affairs, let's understand what type of news that you have to read to prepare for the GK. So quickly taking a look, the first one, the new schemes or new programs which has been launched. So as you know that in the recent days, the Agnipath scheme, there has been mass protest against the Agnipath scheme. So which is why any new scheme or any new program which has been launched in the, in the period of 6 months to 1 year, that is very important from your exam point of view. Always remember that whenever your exam is scheduled, for example, if it is scheduled in the month of July, so please read the current affairs from the month of July till June 2021. So this is an ideal period which we consider to read your current affairs. So now most of the students, they keep on asking what is the time period for current affairs. However, there are no set timeline, but we ideally assume that 1 year preceding to the date of exam is enough to go for the current affairs. The second one, the recent meetings, the conferences or the visits of Indian diplomats, bureaucrats and even cabinets. So any visits to foreign countries are very important, and even with their conclusion. So had they been signing any agreement, any MOU has been signed, any joint agreement has been signed, that is very important. The third one is new agreements signed intra-state, interstate, intra-nation, even during the organizational meets also. So any new agreements signed, they are again very important. Then next, this is B news. So B news does not mean Bollywood news. Kindly do not jiggle with the Bollywood news these days. So you can just avoid it for some time and focus on the business news, what business is giving to the nation and across the globe. And even for the time in being, just to avoid cluttering your mind, you can just skip those, page 3 type of news, so that you put more focus and you're more focused on your examination rather than this, chitter chatter of the world, right? So the economic affairs of India and the world are again primarily very important. The next and most important one, the security defense activities between the nations and any military activities, right? So even we have several exercises which are conducted between the nations and they are being named something, so that is again very important. Then international as well as national awards and honors. However, you can avoid the state awards and honors, but international awards and national awards, honors. For example, we have Raman Magsaysay Award, Gyanpith Award, Sahitya Academy Awards, Nobel Prize Awards, Pulitzer, Booker International. So these are some of the renowned awards which we always have to take care of before going for the examination. And then next we have the reports, index and publications. So across the globe, there are several non-governmental as well as governmental organizations which gives their publications, their reports, and every year they publish. For example, if be it related to the environment or the economic performance or the investment or the emissions, the carbon dioxide emissions. So there are several reports and index and rankings across the world which is given to the countries on the basis of their performance. So these publications are very important, including the organization which has published that report, right? So that was a brief of current affairs which you need to take care whenever you will be reading or you will be actually going for your focused preparation. The next we have is, so again coming to the most important section, so what to do or how do we know that what is the current based GK, or how to actually analyze that this particular topic is important from the static point of view as well. So here, as you can see, we have certain topics which may have the static relevance as well. For example, the first one is we have international organizations and groups. So the international organizations, of course, they are always, examiners' most favorite topic to be asked in any examination. And you'll see in every examination there will be one or two questions coming from the international organizations. Even if asking the headquarters, their year of establishment, or under which agreement, the number of members, or if India is the member or not, or any recent ministerial dialogue has been held, so where it has been held, what are the conclusion. So this is very important, right? Then next, any historical evidences. So any excavation, new excavation has been found, or any older monument has been restored. So these all are important ones. So they of course have a historical relevance, which is why they can be asked in a way that who has actually made it. Like we have several monuments of national importance, and even internationally also, right? So they definitely can be asked in terms of the static portion also. So which king or under which dynasty this particular monument has been made. So such type of questions can definitely be asked if a certain monument has been recently in the news. Then next, definitely any political changes in any country, the constitutional acts can be asked. Any amendments in the constitutional acts, definitely they serve the purpose of the static portion also. Then the elections, of course, if there is any legislative assembly elections, any state elections, or like I had mentioned before, presidential elections. So the articles related to it, the impeachment, the manner of election, the the college of the elections college. So everything is very important then from the static point of view as well. Then the awards, honors, and events, if they have made the news, then definitely any static news related to it can also be asked. For example, if there is Nobel Prize, in which year it has started, who started it, and whose name, which of the following Indian has not received the Nobel Prize. So something like that can be asked. Then next, the geographical happenings, like I had mentioned. So any kind of geographical event which has happened, like it may be tsunami, it may be earthquake, or the warming of the planet, or ITCZ related thing. Then we have volcanoes, volcanic eruptions. So anything relate which has a a geographical instinct can be asked as a static portion also. So these are the topics which you need to take care of whenever you will be reading, in the current affairs. So do read more about that particular, news, so that you dug deep into that particular topic and read the static portion also. So now let us further start with how to prepare for the GK in these last weeks now. So I've heard it a lot from the students that they are quite curious to know how do we memorize the fact. See, I know it's very difficult to memorize the fact, but you have to do it. And either which ways, whatever way you want to go for, you can just go for it. Making notes, making diagrams, memorize it again and again. There are many students, they do not have that sharp memory, and they might lose, they have you can say just a memory of 6 to 7 days. They are unable to retain many facts in one go. So ideally I would suggest you to give a gap between your preparation and your revision. For example, if for 6 days you're reading the current affairs, seventh day, that is Sunday, or it can be any other day, keep it for a revision, and then the next 7 days you go for the GK current affairs, and then seventh day you just revise. So in this way you are going to, at least it is going to help you in retaining the concepts which you have read. So as I had already mentioned, please read the current affairs of minimum 1 year, important. Secondly, talking about the source, we have several newspapers now, but of course, this is not the time to actually, take the newspapers of the last 1 year. So ideally, what you can do is you can just go for the PDFs or the magazines, monthly compendiums or yearly compendiums, which actually help you in getting the facts has to be accurate, because I've seen many PDFs and assignments which actually are giving you incorrect facts. So please make sure that you pick up some reliable source. So the next is memorizing the facts. Like I had mentioned, please make notes, mind maps, and even you can apply the Pomodoro technique also. Pomodoro technique says that, you can just read for 25 minutes and take 5 minutes break. So this is an ideal Pomodoro technique which you can use. However, there can be several breaks that you can take, during the revision or during even preparing. That is totally up to you. But avoid taking long breaks, because after 25 minutes, if you take 40 minutes break, that is of course not going to help you in retaining at all, right? So a week before your examination, keep it only and only for revision, especially for GK, because whatever you have read till that, you need to revise it at least twice. So make sure that you revise those facts at least twice to make extra retention, about that particular topic. Otherwise, you'll be totally blank while giving the exam. The more stress should be on current affairs. So even if you are not very much okay with the static part, that is okay. Read the current affairs and current based static, right? So current affairs and current based static, if you are able to cover both, so consider that 60 to 70% of your static GK is also been covered, right? However, there are few topics which are very important and fundamentals from the static point of view, especially in the polity, that is fundamental rights, directive principle of state policies, the fundamental duties, the preamble, and modern history. Please kindly read it. These are the mandate to be read for any examination, right? So even if they have not been in news in the last 1 year, you have to cover it and you have to cram it also, right? Because modern Indian history, the events, the acts are very important, like I had mentioned before. So now let us quickly go through with some of the important questions which have been asked. The key questions, so that you will get an idea of how to prepare for the current affairs. So the first we have here is, which of the following two countries are ranked atop in the Henley Passport Index 2021? So for this, the answer to this question is Japan and Singapore. So Japan and Singapore has been ranked atop in the Henley Passport Index, followed by South Korea and Germany. However, in this list, India is ranked 85th. The next we have is, which Caribbean nation has recently been elected as the president, replacing the Queen Elizabeth II as the head of the state? So this Caribbean nation is now all set to be the Republican nation again. However, prior to this, this nation also had the prime minister, but has not had the president. So now it is all set to be the Republican nation, and the answer to this question is Barbados, right? Then next we have is, so which of the following about the National Tribal Dance Festival is, considered? Please consider these options, and which of the following statement is true, right? So Such news is important, and the statement based questions can be asked from the news like this. So ideally the festivals, the literature events, we just skip it, but they are important from the statement based question point of view. So here, as I read the question, so it is inaugurated in the state of Jharkhand. Then the artists from the countries like Palestine, Syria, Uganda participated. The dance performances in the event will be held in the two categories, and it was a 3-day national tribe festival. So amongst this, it was actually inaugurated in the state of Chhattisgarh. So only first option is incorrect. So which makes the answer C as the answer which is to this question, right? So events and news like these, you have to read the key points of the news: who inaugurated it, where it was inaugurated, what are the key features of a particular festival, and for how many days this festival was actually being scheduled. So that is important. Then next we have is, so the results of Lok Sabha elections are declared by whom? So this one is from the static polity, as I had mentioned, and this is important because 1 year after the other we have seen the Lok Sabha elections in lately. So Lok Sabha elections related articles and even the manners are very important. So to this we have of course the Election Commission of India, which generally conducts and declares the results of the Lok Sabha elections. So this is the answer. Then next we have is, so Mitra Shakti. So Mitra Shakti is a bilateral exercise between India and which nation? So the answer to this question is Sri Lanka. So this particular event was held between India and Sri Lanka, and it is Sri Lankans largest military exercise. So India and Sri Lanka, by and large, we have a not only Mitra Shakti but Slinex also as a naval exercise. So Mitra Shakti is a army exercise, and Slinex is the naval exercise between India and Sri Lanka. So such bilateral exercise between India or even between the nations is important from the exam point of view. Then next we have is, so which of the following statement is incorrect about the World Trade Organization? So recently the ministerial dialogue or ministerial conference of WTO was concluded, which is why WTO has made the news, and this is important from the static point of view also. So reading the options, so WTO is the successor to the GATT, established in the wake of Second World War. The WTO Secretariat is based in Vienna. It is officially commenced on 1st of January 1996, pursuing from the Marrakesh Agreement, and it is the only global international organization dealing with the rules. So however, the other options are correct. However, the option B is incorrect as it is headquartered at Geneva, right? So which is why only A, B and C are correct. So ideally the answer is B because it is the only incorrect option in this question. So the answer is B. Then moving on further, so what happens to the sun on the 21st of June? So this is, like I had mentioned, it is about the summer solstice, right? So here I'm reading the option. So the sun does not set below the horizon at the Arctic Circle. It does not set below the horizon at Antarctic Circle, and it shines vertically overhead at the noon on the equator, and it shines vertically overhead at the Tropic of the Capricorn. So during the summer solstice, the northern hemisphere, it witnesses the longest day of the year, and the southern hemisphere at the same time is the shortest day. So during this time the Earth's north pole is at its maximum. It is actually tilted towards the sun at its maximum, and sun appears actually directly overhead at the 23.5 degrees Celsius. So which makes that it does not set below the horizon at the Arctic Circle. So the answer is A to this question, right? So which is why I was saying that geography from the concepts point of view is very important, as the questions to which can be asked from geography can be a bit tricky and related to the current news also, right? So then next, this one is from the habitation, or basically from the environment, the national parks, the biosphere reserves and all. So which of the following pairs given above is or are correctly matched? So we have the pairs, as you can see, that is Bhitrakanika, saltwater crocodile, Kaziranga National Park, hula gibbons, and Eravikulam, which is Nilgiri tar. So which of the following are the correctly matched, right? So Bhitrakanika, as you can see, it is in Odisha and it is definitely famous for the saltwater crocodiles. Then we have Kaziranga National Park, which is also famous for the hula gibbons. We have Eravikulam in Kerala, which is again famous for the Nilgiri tars. So the answer to this is D, which is 1, 2 and 3. So even your national parks, biosphere reserves, wildlife sanctuaries, bird sanctuaries, elephant sanctuaries, tiger sanctuaries, please take a look at these, where these are situated, and the most important or endangered species in these parks or in these sanctuaries, which are being of course have always made the news. That is very important. The next, so this one is, now you can see, so this is very important, current based static question on the awards. So as you read it, the award winner Dr. Firdausi Qadri, he has won Ramon Magsaysay or not. Dmitry Muratov, he has won the Pulitzer or not. Gitanjali Shri has won the Booker International. So what you have to do is you have to find the incorrectly matched pair. So Dr. Firdausi Qadri, yes, he has won Ramon Magsaysay in 2021. Dmitry Muratov, actually this person has won the Nobel Peace Prize. And Gitanjali Shri, yes, she has recently won the Booker International, and this is, of course, she is Indian, and this is kind of a of course, an honor for us that an Indian author has won the Booker International. So the B is the answer, as it is not correctly matched, because Dmitry Muratov has actually won the Nobel Peace Prize. So the answer to this question is B. So from here we got to know that all the awards, including the names, are very important, because the questions like these can be asked in your exam. So moving towards the last question of the day. So this is related to economy, current based your question is this, and economy question, very important, monetary policy committee. So recently the RBI has of course ruled out the monetary policy committee, and they have decided to increase the repo rate by 50 basis points to, any guesses for the answer? Yes, definitely. So you guessed it right. The answer is C, which is 4.9%. So our new repo rate as on June 2022 is 4.9. So along with this, do check the reverse repo rate, the bank rate, what is SLR, what is CRR currently, right? And I think that is what is currently what is the current inflation rate. So these are some of the key rates which are important. So that is all for today. I'll definitely come up with some more questions, some more strategy tips, and a few more experiences to share. So for today, thank you so much everyone. If you like this video, please share it to the other aspirants who are also preparing for CUET, and don't forget to hit the bell icon. Thank you so much everyone.